All right, recording in 3, 2, 1. Hey there, this is Ryuan. Welcome to lesson 1. This is nouns. Now, we know nouns. So, take 2 in 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Sir Yuan here. Welcome to lesson 1. Lesson 1 is all about nouns. So we'll be talking about nouns, its definition, types, and functions. Now, we know nouns to be names of people, places, things, concepts, events, and happenings. We were taught that nouns were given, and sometimes they do have a natural, or shall we say, a common name or common noun in this particular sense. So let's go over the types of nouns. We have 3 for the purposes of today's lessons. We have proper nouns, common nouns, and the gerund. So again, we do have a lot of noun types. However, for the purposes of today's video, or rather for today's lesson, we will be talking about only 3. Proper nouns, which are names of people, places, organizations spelled with an initial capital letter. Common nouns, name of a concept or idea denoting a person, place, or organization, or events or concepts. Then we have the gerund, a verb in its present participle form acting as a noun. Now this is important mainly because we'll be analyzing the functions of a noun given the 3 types that we have listed for today's lesson. So all in all, we have 10 functions of a noun. Now depending on how we use a noun in a sentence, the function may change. Here are the 10 functions listed. So we have subjects of sentences, subject complements, direct objects, indirect objects, objects of verbal phrases, objects of preposition, noun appositives, noun modifiers, noun adverbs, and noun as absolutes or noun absolutes. We'll be going over them one by one so that you may be able to understand each function. Also, if you have questions or clarifications, you may ask me via Messenger or via the Quipper messages. So let's begin with the first one, which is the most common, subjects of sentences. Now, nouns may function as the subject of sentences. This would mean that they are the doer of the action, or in this case, when we were in elementary or high school, the subject is the one being talked about. Okay. For the purposes of today's lesson, we'll be using doer of the action, as the subject in a sentence is the one directly implementing the verb or the action. We have here 3 examples. We have here the fish is swimming, Elsa is the princess, painting is a hobby. Now all of which uses a linking verb, which is a be verb is, and in this particular sense, the subject implements or assumes the action of the verb, in this case linking verb. Now when we say linking verb, it links the subject to the predicate, or in this case the subject complement. So we have here the first example, the fish is swimming. Our subject here is the fish, that is our complete subject. Our noun here is fish. So fish here is our noun subject. And then when we talk about linking verb, it links the subject to the predicate or to the subject complement. In this case, fish is linked to swimming, and so you understand that fish or schools of fish, they usually swim. The second example, Elsa is the princess. Again, we have the linking verb. Our complete subject is Elsa. Our noun subject is Elsa. And it is being linked to the predicate, which is the princess. In this case, Elsa is linked to the princess, and therefore it describes the state of Elsa, which is that she is the princess. Painting is a hobby. Painting is linked to a hobby. In this case, painting, we understand it to be as a hobby. Now again, nouns may function as subjects of sentences, as they would be the doer of the action of the verb or implements the action of the verb. Next one, nouns as subject complements. Nouns may function as complements or modifiers to describe or complete the subject, or complete the meaning of the subject, I would say. So in this case, she is Kathy, I am eating. Our subject complement here, which is also a noun. First example, we have Kathy. Kathy complements or completes the meaning of the pronoun she, as we are describing that Kathy is a female, which is being denoted by the pronoun she, which is usually used for female individuals or subjects. Second example, I am eating. Eating is a gerund. It is complementing or completing or actually describing the state of the pronoun I. In this case, I am eating. I is eating. Eating is I. In this case, it completes the sentence and the meaning of the subject, as well as describing the state of the subject, given that the sentence is simple and easily understandable. Third function is nouns being direct objects. Nouns may function as direct objects that answers the question what in the sentence. We have here two examples. He reads Shakespeare. Jamie eats meat exclusively. Now, in order for us to know or to use a direct object, we will need a transitive verb to complete the sentence pattern. Now, a transitive verb requires an object, in this case, a direct object. It's a direct object, it directly receives the action of the doer, of which the doer assumes the action of the action verb or action word. So, first example, he reads Shakespeare. He reads what? Shakespeare. In this case, we understand that Shakespeare as the concept of Shakespeare's novels, dramas, so on and so forth. Therefore, when you say he reads what, he reads Shakespeare, we understand that this particular person reads novels and dramas and poems by Shakespeare. Jamie eats meat exclusively. In this case, Jamie eats what? Jamie eats meat. And so we understand that Jamie eats meat, as it answers the question what. As nouns may be direct objects, they can also be indirect objects. A noun may function as indirect objects that answers the question for what or for whom. We have two examples. I baked Maria a cake. I gave my mother the car. This may be confusing for some, as previously we were discussing direct objects, which it comes after the verb, as it receives the action of the doer directly. In this case, if we understand that Maria to be the direct object, then we would be confused as to which um, which did the subject bake. Did the subject I bake Maria, or did the subject I bake a cake? Now, in this sense, since we know the sentence and we understand that we don't bake people usually, sometimes we can bake people, but we don't usually do that as it is a criminal act. And so we understand that instead of baking a person, we would bake something. In this case, which is being presented in the sentence, we bake a cake. And so we understand that the subject I baked what? A cake for who? For what? For Maria. Next function would be objects of verbal phrases. Now, nouns may function as objects of verbal phrases that answers the question, what? Now, as they are objects, they also answer the question, what? We have here 3 examples. Painting a flower is her hobby. My purpose here is to teach your students. The laughing raven ate his eyes from his skull. So we have here, painting a flower is her hobby. Our subject is painting a flower. We understand that painting is a gerund and therefore is a verbal. In this case, painting a flower. Painting what? A flower is her hobby. Next one, my purpose here is to teach your student. To teach is a infinitive phrase with the infinitive to. So to teach what? To teach who? Your students. The last one, the laughing raven ate his eyes from his skull. We understand that laughing here is not a verb and therefore it is a gerund. So the laughing what? The laughing raven. Sir, I thought that gerunds were nouns. Well, moving forward with the functions, we may be able to understand why this is. As nouns can be direct objects, indirect objects, objects of the verbal phrase. Nouns may also become objects of prepositions. Nouns may function as objects of the preposition of which also answers the question what. So we have here one example. I sent a letter to Kathy. Sorry about that. So we have here to Kathy. To is our infinitive, or our preposition in this case. I sent a letter to what or to who? So we have here Kathy. So we identify that Kathy is the object of the preposition to. Next function, noun functioning as appositives. Now, appositives are modifiers of a noun or of a subject or of the object. Now, nouns may function as appositives to emphasize and modify a noun. We have here 2 examples. I sent my sister Kathy a letter, and Joey, his son, is an engineer. First sentence, I sent my sister Kathy a letter. We understand that Kathy may not be the letter, as Kathy is the name of a person. And therefore, we have 2 persons here in the sentence. We have I and sister. Now, in this particular sentence, I is the doer of the action, then therefore is impossible to be Kathy. In this case, my sister, Kathy, is our modifier. Sir, why is that? Usually the modifier sits near the word it is trying to modify. In this case, it sits near sister, and therefore Kathy modifies sister. Does it rename sister? It does not, as it only puts emphasis and modifies the noun. or in this case, the word it is trying to modify. Same goes with the second example. Now, nouns may also function as modifiers or adjectives. We have here 3 examples. The fish tank got a little bigger. I gave Mia the flower pot. I am a potterhead. First example, we have here fish tank. Now, if you notice, we have 2 nouns, fish and tank. In this case, noun may modify another noun. How? The first noun will become or will function as an adjective, putting emphasis or modifying the noun next to it. In this case, we have fish tank, which means or which denotes what type of tank we are talking about. And then in this particular example, we are talking about a tank that we usually put fish in. So we call it a fish tank. Everything follows with the second and third example. Next, we have the noun adverbs. Noun may also function as an adverb that would answer the question where, why, when, and how. We have 2 examples. I am going home. I am working on this painting. First example, I am going home. I am going where? Home. Home is a noun, common noun, functioning as an adverb, modifying am going. I am working on this painting. On this painting is our complete object complement, and therefore modifies am working. Our noun here is a gerund, which is the painting. And last but not the least, we have nouns functioning as absolutes or noun absolutes. Absolutes have no grammatical connection, however, affects the entire meaning of the sentence. Now, we won't be delving too much on absolutes, as absolutes have a very, very wide range of topics. We'll be focusing on nouns functioning as absolutes. We have here 2 examples. I am going home. I am working on this painting. In this particular sense, when you say I am going home, we know for a fact that the subject is going where? Going home. What if we take out home and we are left with I am going? Does that mean, or does the sentence now still have meaning? Quick answer, yes. When you say I am going, we understand that the subject is moving towards a particular direction. And therefore, in this particular case, the noun home here functions as an absolute, as it completes the entire meaning of the sentence once it is placed inside the sentence. Next example, I am working on this painting. Again, if we take out the complete object complement on this painting, we are able to understand I am working. If we put painting here on this painting, then it completes the meaning of the sentence. And that is it for lesson 1. I hope everything was helpful and was clear. I'll be sending you a scaffold lesson either in the form of a handout or a video lesson. Till then, stay safe.